Hello, welcome to English 300. Today I'm going to walk you through a little bit of this stuff as far as the modules go. By now I'm assuming that most of you have taken online classes, but if in case you haven't, I'm just going to give you a quick tutorial, at least the initial tutorial. Most of this stuff may be repeated a little bit during class time, during the live class time portion. So if you do need to follow up, or if you need to come back to this particular recording, then that would be just fine either way. So however you want to enter it, or if you just want to use this for reference, that would be fine too. Nothing earth-shattering, just something that I like to do, at least initially. So as you can see, I've opened up the start here and the module 0 and then module 1. This is kind of my view of things. So as you are walking through your modules, you may see things a little bit differently. But as you can see, the first Start Here module has mostly just tutorials and sort of college-wide type helpful information for you to access. It's a pretty important resource here, but sort of use that at your discretion. It's not necessarily directly, all of the information is not necessarily directly related to the class, but it does have some relevance on sort of how you're going to find some support in the class itself. Because as a standalone 300 class, if you're aware of the differences between the classes, you may or may not be. In English, there's another 300 course that you can take, and in conjunction, you'd have to take the 108, which is a support class. That one kind of moves a little bit differently, but since you're taking the 300 class, it's a standalone class. So I may not be able to offer as much of the additional support in terms of tutoring help and grammar, really get nitty-gritty grammar stuff. You may have to seek some of that out on your own, but I will try to help you as best I can. So, and also since this is a summer class, it's going to be moving pretty fast. So I'm going to be focusing more on the assignments themselves and allowing them to maybe breathe a little bit during class times with the exercises. But it is going to move pretty fast, so just as long as you're aware of that, I think we'll all be okay. I'm more than willing to help you out as much as I can, but I'm limited by the constraints of the class, right, in terms of the time and the unit load. So, but none of that should be a negative. For most of you, it'd probably be positive. You kind of want to get in and out of this, and so self-scheduling for some of you may be a skill you have developed at this point. So that's perfectly fine too. So I may not even be talking to most of you. So module 0 has most of the syllabus stuff, has some information there that is pretty helpful in terms of determining sort of the overall movement of the class and the point structure and sort of where you need to emphasize from week to week to an extent. And also it has some of the responsibilities that both you and I have regarding this class. So make sure that you go over that pretty well and you kind of, you let it kind of come over you. You don't have to necessarily memorize everything. It's not like I'm going to be testing you other than sort of this really easy quiz that you can always refer back to and take again. So just be aware that most of Module 0 has the components of syllabus type stuff. I also have a download that you can, that there's a link in here for you to access the syllabus itself if you need to. Module 1, really quickly, is where I introduce you to some ideas of critical reading and writing. Again, this is just sort of throwing some information at you, getting your mind maybe a little bit flexible in terms of college writing, and then following up with some more, I'll use the term nitty-gritty again, that sort of really detailed sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph structural stuff. But some of that I will be going over in the live class, probably a lot of that, and I will be reiterating that mostly for the live class because I find that the live portions tend to be pretty heavy loaded with sort of structural stuff, meaning, how do you put together a paragraph? Can you give me some examples? Walking you through what a thesis statement is, all those little needs that you do have. And most of the online stuff is going to be responding, reading stuff, sort of doing these other little, ancillary stuff, if I could use that term. These sort of the extras that kind of float around that you can sort of self-schedule a little bit more. But I will probably focus a little bit more on structure and how to, sort of the how-to portions in the live, and hopefully this will make a little bit more sense once we get started. But I just thought I'd give you a little preview and sort of introduce myself and give you something that you can always refer back to. Again, this is not super heavy information because we do have a live portion. We have an hour every week where I'm going to sit down with you. And so if you have questions at those points, those would be good times to bring it up. So I won't necessarily be uploading videos in every unit, but I just thought I'd do this as sort of a little added bonus. Hope to see you all very soon. And if you've already seen me and you're referring back to this, hello again. Okay, thank you.